All right, guys, welcome back to the Peak Performance Podcast. I got Gabriel Ericson on with us today, one of my best friends in the whole world. Gabe, how you doing, man?
Doing good, bro. How you doing today?
I'm good, blessed, never stressed. Well, I don't know about that part, but the blessed part for sure. So, dude, I'm so excited to have you on, man. We go way back to 11 years, I think now. We go back and been through a lot of battles together, man. Physically, mentally, the whole nine. So, dude, let's start here. Obviously, I owe a lot to you as far as my success and your support, your mentorship, and your leadership as an agent and now as an agency leader. I want to kind of hear your story, man. When you first started with Family First Life and getting into the business, talk to us about how you came in with the company.
Yeah, so I came in. I'd been in the insurance industry already, obviously direct sales for a while, and I had just gotten done with my master's with school, and was looking for. To be honest, I was just looking for more income, and at the beginning, I was looking for something that I was picking my own schedule. So without, I had never had my own business, but in essence, that's really what I was looking for because, I was really involved in our church's ministries, really involved in different missions work. But I wanted to be able to, I knew I wasn't going to go into any of that stuff full time anytime soon. And I wanted the financial freedom to give a lot without, someone restricting my schedule saying I had to be in, this time or on this day. And so I looked into a few different things. Like I said, I'd been in sales. Where I was okay. I'd looked into real estate, and then I had a friend who was just crushing it, at part time, and he was actually, it spoke to me because he was like an assistant pastor at a church doing insurance on the side. So I was getting my insurance license. And while I was pursuing that, another friend told me about a local insurance office that was hiring, and it was only like 20 minutes away. Because the one friend I had originally heard from, they did this thing where they had these meetings, and I talked to his upline, but he was like in California. And I was like, man, I'd really like if someone was close. And so I hopped on with them. And, I had a little bit of success. I liked the insurance industry, but the company culture was really bad, was definitely against my, belief system. And I left after about 5-6 months, thinking that was the insurance industry. And Caleb was actually still at that same company, had a client, talk to him about Family First Life, send him the Sean Mike video. He immediately sent it to me, and we started doing our research. For sure thought it was not legit because people here were getting paid twice as much as I was getting paid at my last company. Found the local office, Ivan, talked to him, and really the rest is history. I was like, this is legit. Went out, helped some families. And once that money hit my bank account, it was real. I'm like, I think it was the first time I was ever that first or second week happened. And I was like, I'm going to be doing this forever.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I remember when you and I kind of lost touch. It'd probably been a couple years. We hadn't talked a lot. And then we started talking again. And you mentioned you were in the insurance industry, which, was no shock, dude. You and I had done sales forever. And it was always who was paying the best. We were kind of like, it was like the lottery, whoever's going to pay the best commission, we're sold, And so you got into the insurance industry. And I remember you saying you were doing pretty well. Now, let me ask you this. What are some of the differences between what we're doing now and your last company you worked with?
There's a ton, but just to go down the line, the most obvious ones, like on paper, are the huge difference in commission or comp, as we say in the insurance industry. So when I was there, I think it was like a base of like 50, 55%, of the annual premium that I would get paid out in a year. I think it went up to like 70, 75, 80. Like if you hit a certain amount, you hit all these buckets, and it reset every month. So you had to hit all those again, the next month to get it. So that was a huge one because, I started here at 100%. So I literally started double, and that wasn't going to change month to month. And the commission here goes up to 145. So that was one of the biggest things I didn't understand looking at Family First Life. I was like, how could they be paying so much more for doing the same job? Like, can my company really suck so bad that they are literally taking all that extra money out of my pocket? And I found out that yes, they could, and that's exactly what was happening. The second one was when I was there, I was a captive agent, which is really common in the insurance industry, meaning that I worked for one company and I could only sell their products. So, whatever we had, right, was the best, because that's what I had, and everything else, I would talk about how horrible it was, because that's how they trained us. And if you got denied, with that company, you were just uninsurable. And I remember that was a horrible feeling because probably half of the people I sat with, because they were really strict in their underwriting, I had to turn away and basically tell them they were uninsurable, which was not true. It was just that I was a captive agent and I only had this one company could help, and was very limited in how I could help them, and what products I would recommend. So that was a huge one. But the third one, actually, there's two more. Another one was leads. At that last company, I did not have any leads, which is actually, as long as I'd been in the insurance industry, was really not something I was familiar with. Like the idea of me getting a piece of paper in my hand, someone had filled it out, put it in the mail, because they really wanted what I had, or filled, something out online, with all these, specifics. I'd not dealt with that before. And I remember hearing about FFL and seeing, oh, they buy leads. Like, how could you afford to buy leads? But I had no idea how much more commission I would be making. And then company culture. Like that is, while I was there, it was such like a horrible reference, but it was such like a Wolf of Wall Street vibe. People really just clawing their way to the top. It was all about money. It was all about flash. It was all about, people would hide their greed behind that building a legacy. People would say that all the time, building a legacy. But it was really just, they just wanted to line their pockets, and that sound better than I want a lot of money. To that, Sean Mike, the CEO of our company, gave me $50,000 to start another orphanage. This is not a lie. I had one of my managers this morning send me, he's already giving a certain amount to one of the orphanages in West Africa, tell me that he wants to double it. I woke up to that text. He's like, I just feel like this is something I need to do because he's doing really well financially. Like that is 180 degrees from where I came from, and just the people wanting to help each other, wanting to grow. I tell this story all the time. I was here for literally like 2 weeks, right when I was bringing you in, and Chris Photo, down in South Florida, spent an hour on the phone with me, not on my team, not associated with us at all, spent an hour on the phone with me, this random new agent, just to help me get going. Like that's incredible. Like what we have here as a company culture.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback on a couple things you said. Well, one, obviously, Chris is a phenomenal guy. I remember when I was new, just trying to figure out going full time, same thing. He took the time, probably 15, 20 minutes, and just gave me a lot of info on what he was doing. I was looking at final expense and things like that, and he just was kind of giving me all the information. And just a genuinely nice guy. for sure. But the comp part, man, I think a lot of people, I love when I interview people because I always wait for that line where they say, I thought it was a scam. That's like a common denominator. I remember when I was new and you were explaining the comp, and I was trying to wrap my head around 110%, 120, 140% commission. What does that even mean? I had never been in the insurance industry. And I just remember when you called me the first time and you're like, hey, man, I made this much in a week. And my first thought was like, that's stupid. Like that's just dumb. I'm over here like you made in a couple days, in a week, what I was making not even in a full month. And so I thought, how is that even possible? And I think for a lot of people, man, they're not used to being financially free the way that you can in this industry. So they have a very hard time wrapping their head around the amount of money that you can make. Now, the problem is I see, and I hit this pitfall, is that I was making it at first all about the money. And when I stopped making it about money, this career, this business about money, dude, so much changed. Did you ever go through that?
Yeah, dude. And it's funny that I'm having the conversation with you because, truth be told, I think you actually helped me get out of that. Because when I got into this, like I said, I'd come into it wanting financial freedom for a specific purpose. Like I wanted to give heavily to ministry. And that very first year, I talk about it all the time, or the first orphanage, that we started there in West Africa with Ted Spear, is because that was what was fresh on my mind. I literally just committed to him. It'd been a couple of years since I lived with them in West Africa. I told him this is the year that I want to do something about that. So that was, that philanthropic idea was fresh on my mind, but it was still like kind of about the money and still about my goals. And even though you can say that was, selfless in a sense, it was still something that I wanted to do because it meant a lot to me. So it was still selfish, like in a way, even though it was something for other people. And I didn't recognize that. I thought, you can almost get into that bad mindset where, the ends justify the means. And not that I was doing anything unethical, but that idea that I was working all the time for money to do this thing, like made it okay because that end goal was okay, even though I know my life, our lives are supposed to be about more than money. And I remember, you came in that first year, you were kind of, you were juggling a lot of stuff. You had just had your second kid. You were considering, a different career path from what you'd been doing, a more full-time role in ministry. You had another job with this that was also commission-only sales. And I remember you kind of came to that point where it was like a lot. And, we had a real heart-to-heart, and I wasn't, I actually discouraged you from, pursuing FFL at that time.
Let me pause there because I remember that day, and like you didn't discourage me, man. You just told me not to do it. Like I think you're downplaying it. And what's funny is I was calling you to tell you that I was putting in my 2 weeks notice at my job, and before I could even get the words out, you're like, "Hey, man, I don't think you should do this."
Dude, I was just so concerned, man. Obviously, like you said, we've been really good friends for a long time. And I just saw you juggling so much. And like I said, in my mind, I was like, I'm going to be doing this forever. So this is still going to be here. Let Sean, figure out whatever he needs to figure out, because like you were generally like, I don't have a kid. You just brought your second one into the world. You're financially supporting them. All this stuff was going on. And yeah, dude, and maybe looking back, I don't know how I would have dealt with that situation today. Maybe I would have dealt with it better, but I was just like, yeah, don't do it. And then you called me back, what felt like just a couple days later and told me that you did put in your 2 week notice. You went all in. And then January of 2021, you had called me and had just shared some stuff with me. Stuff I don't think you would mind me saying, but that you had, you were dealing with like a small amount of personal debt was weighing heavily on you. I don't even remember what amount was, but you had just paid it all off, in January, and like from like a couple big weeks, like literally just paid it all. And that was very emotional for me. I think I cried.
So I'll kind of just interrupt there. So it was from 1 week. So here's the crazy thing about that. This is how fast things can change if you really work hard and you put your mind to it. So like literally December, the last week of December, like we were going through that lead crunch with one of our vendors. We weren't getting a lot of leads, and I wasn't buying more leads, and it was the holidays, quote unquote. So I was taking all the holiday time off, and I hadn't gotten any deposits. And dude, you kind of go through, like, in a weird way, you go through withdrawals when you don't get them. And it was hitting me. So like right before the end of the year, dude, I'm freaking out. I'm like having a meltdown emotionally. I'm stressed. I went and got the Dave Ramsey envelopes and put all our bill money in there for the month. And I told my wife, I was like, don't be mad, but this is like all the money we have for the whole month. And she just looked at me and was like, you need to go to work. Like, you need to stop. This job stresses you out way too much. Just go to work. And I was like, all right, fair enough. So like literally, so the first week of January comes, I'm on the phone with Ivan because I'm like overthinking the whole thing. Ivan is like talking me through the in-home presentation like I had never done it. That was right at the time that I had called you and I was like, hey Gabe, I need you to record your in-home setup and send it to me so I can memorize it. Dude, I listened to that thing like 50 times before the next appointment so I just could stop overthinking it. Well, dude, I walked in, and I helped like 15 families that week. And so 15 families, dude, that's 2-3 months worth of salary for some people. It was for me. And I did that in a week. And so I remember, I was able to walk into the bank, pay off a loan. Now, the funny thing about that loan, it was a credit card consolidation loan that I had got. And then I still had to pay off more credit card debt. And for the first time in my marriage, like, not be stressed about like paying my bills. All my bills were paid and I still had some left over and I wasn't worried. That was like a weird feeling to me, but it just moved so fast because literally I went from stressed to blessed in 1 week. And yeah, dude, I always understand you have to give credit where credit is due, obviously the Lord, but then, I have to reach out to people that I know helped me along the way. And dude, how many hours did we spend on the phone between starting and in that moment? A ton. And I think there's so much power in agents reaching out to their mentors. And dude, I don't know if you go through the same thing. Sometimes I feel like my phone doesn't go off enough. And so if an agent's listening, man, you have to be reaching out. You have to be bugging your mentor, getting information. They're a wealth of knowledge that you don't have. And there's so much power in them sharing that with you and that belief and that confidence. So here we are now, man. So last year, obviously, for both of us, our first full-time year, got the red jacket right at the finish line. I think they announced mine literally. I was in the last announcements, man. It was incredible. What was that like for you, man? Your first full year, you hit Hall of Fame. Let me ask you this. When you first started and you heard the term Hall of Fame and then hitting it, kind of talk me through that.
I mean, when I first had heard it, I definitely didn't think it was something like I wanted it to be. Like, and if you had asked me, oh, Gabe, do you think you'll hit Hall of Fame? I would have said yes. But I think inside I didn't know. There was a lot of doubt whether or not it was attainable, especially at the beginning. Like my first month or two, I'd have been like, man, 400,000 like in a year. Like, that's crazy. Like, how could you do that? Um, and I remember being disappointed. So my first year, obviously I started in April of 2020. I got to the end, I helped, about 250 families. So I was about 150, short. And I remember Evan Melchior had crushed it, and he had started like a month before me, but had blown past like what I had done. And I remember thinking, like, man, like, I guess I took it easy, like my first year. Like, I didn't think I did, and so that next year, it was one of those things. It was like do or die. And it was a little bit of a trickier situation because obviously I had a lot of people coming on. I was really concerned with the agency growing. But that's part of where it came on. I had people with me all the time because I was like, I need to hit Hall of Fame personally for something like because I want to be an example to agents. Excuse me, but I don't want that to hold me back from training agents. So I think that's where me having someone in the car with me all the time, like going to appointments, I think that's part of where that first came from, where it's like, dude, I need to do both. And yeah, dude, right at the finish line, because yeah, we incredibly blessed to have hit Hall of Fame, personally, and then same thing, that agency just squeaked by to to hit that agency Hall of Fame as well. So it all worked out, but it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I always want to steer the narrative for what we do because I had this small impression when I first started, and this is what really made me struggle when I was part-time, was that, yeah, man, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and make like, $1 million next year and I'm not going to have to work for it. And dude, when I realized that was not going to happen, like it was very eye-opening for me. And that kind of, in a sense, it kind of messed my head up a little bit. Because I thought, oh, wait, that just changed the whole game. I actually have to work hard. And so the narrative that I want people that are not with us and agents that are new to understand is this is a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. And you and I have done a lot of sales jobs, a lot. And here's the thing is we don't have a boss telling us where to go, when to go, how to do it. It all rises and falls on us. And the only way you can be consistently good at this is if you work extremely hard. Extremely hard. And that was much more eye-opening to me than when I first realized.
Yeah, it's funny, Sean. I was blessed to before this is the first business I've ever owned. But before I started in the insurance industry, I helped 5 friends start businesses, and now I have many friends who are business owners, not just in the insurance industry, and part just natural evolution. People I went to college with, some of them became business owners, people I grew up with, and then now I'll go to like mastermind meetings and different things, here and then, just trying to enlarge my perspective. And no matter what industry it is, like there are things that are true across the board. And one of the constants, and I was actually just reflecting on it last night, is that anything you're going to be a business owner in, it is going to take a time of obsession where you are going to be working nonstop. That business is going to be your life. It's going to be incredibly hard work. And there are going to be people that are going to get off of that train because they think that they're going to find like easy money, or there's the way to do it and it'd be, easy. One of my best friends is in real estate, and his mentor is multi-millionaire, one of the biggest names in Northwest Indiana in real estate, flips, several hundred homes a year. And he was getting into it. And we were just reflecting the other day. He's like, man, he's like, this is absorbing my life now that I'm doing this full time. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you really can't you can't get away from it. Like there's no, I wish there was an easy button for building a business and, being really successful, but there's really not. But there's a lot of people that they jump to something else, because they hope it's the easy button, but it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. And I stopped taking the approach a while ago to stop trying to convince people to come do this because man, this can be so rewarding, but this business can crush people too. And if we don't set the right expectation for them and they don't come in all in with a good work ethic and things, dude, it can really hurt some people.
Well, Sean, one of the things I say to just about everybody, and I probably said this even to you because I think I heard it. I don't think it's unique to me, but when people kind of look at the comp structure and the commission, and they see what agents are writing, and they see the kind of money they can make, and they doubt it. One of the things I'll say is, I was like, when you actually do the work and you see what it is to help 30, 40, 50 families in a month, and what that schedule looks like with that work ethic, dealing with the emotional stress, the ups and downs of having a great day in the field helping families, having a bad 1 or 2 days, maybe not helping anybody, and needing to get back on the phones with the same enthusiasm to, go out and do it again, and how hard that can be. You are not going to be perplexed like how you made that money, because it is truly very hard work, and so I usually try to get people ready for it with that, like, just so you understand this isn't, and I'm looking for a reason too, Sean, when people come into this industry and they're like maybe thinking they're going to kind of reinvent the wheel, or they're trying to adjust this to an easier style. Like, I'm looking for a reason to tell them it's not going to work. Like, I remember I had a really good friend come into this industry, and she was already doing a full-time real estate. And she's like, hey, I have, showings quite a bit. She'd been in real estate for several years. She's like, if I just did this, a couple hours on Friday evening, dialing for Saturday, and was able to run, the morning time for appointments, do you think this would work? And I just told her, I was like, no. I was like, I don't think this would work. Like, if that's all you can give, it might not even be worth a shot. Like, she's like, oh, like, well, what do you think like the minimum would be? And I'm like, you'll need at least 1 day to dial and 2 days to run. Like, if you can't do that, I don't think it's going to be a good fit, because I just want people to understand like the hard work it's going to be. And truth be told, I probably oversell it. Some people probably think, oh, it's not as hard as Gabe said, but I would rather oversell how hard it is than undersell, and people come in and be like, hey, this is really hard. I feel like it was misrepresented to me.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And that kind of takes me into the next thing I want to talk to you about is your agency, FFL 320 Life Solutions, blew up over the last year and a half. Just completely took off. And here's why. Obviously, you guys have good structure. You have good, there's a lot of good things that you guys bring to the table, but the fact and your ability to mentor agents. And I had never had a mentor prior to this. I had people that, I looked to for advice, but not someone that I could lean on for every aspect of what I was trying to accomplish, to give me all the answers, to tell me how to perceive situations. And that's what you get. And you are one of the best in the industry at that. I genuinely mean that. And so talk to me a little bit about that journey, your mindset behind mentoring agents, and some of the unique things that you do for agents when they come in.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate those words. And, it's funny, Sean, I feel like it's something that God like kind of put in me. Like, we all have those natural like proclivities and things we enjoy. And when it comes to, I believe as a Christian, God gives us gifts, to help other people, like in certain ways that we enjoy. and I felt, for a long time, I ran a ministry in Southside Chicago, and I started as a teenager. And then, my last few years, I was a ministry, leader. And so I went from, I was kind of just helping the kids to, then I was kind of corralling and helping the college students. And what I discovered my last few years is I really enjoyed seeing personal growth and victories, through like the people I was mentoring. Like that really gave me a lot of satisfaction. Like, and that's true in the insurance industry. As good as it felt to go out and have a big week of helping like 10 families with insurance, it felt infinitely better to see an agent have their first week of helping 10 families. The funny thing is the way that mentoring went surprised me. But and that's why I say I feel like it was a gift God gave me, because I feel like I gravitated towards it right away, though, because Sean, what a lot of people need is that, yeah, they need the practical, like, this is what you say, this is how you structure your day, this is how you do a dial day, these are the leads that you buy, this should be your budget, this is your in-home. People need that for sure. But the bigger part of mentoring is helping people like navigate their own personal growth through that time. Like the emotional up, when you help your first day where you help 5 families, like, this is incredible. Like, I've never, done this kind of thing before. Like, I've never seen this kind of, money. And then the horrible down when you maybe have gone 2-3 days not helping anybody, but you spent money on leads, and now it's Wednesday and dial day is tomorrow, and you need to hit that dial day because you need to make money, because you're just getting going. And kind of helping people through that is the bigger part of it. And that is the part of mentorship that a lot of people don't enjoy. And I don't even say that like I enjoy it like I enjoy, like eating my favorite food. Like, it's not that same kind of enjoyment, but I enjoy helping people through that and overcoming it. So I might not enjoy that conversation. It's probably just as uncomfortable for me as it is for the other person, but it's so worth kind of getting your hands in the mud to see the triumph after. So that's kind of been my mindset, with it, is giving people those practical aspects, but knowing that the brunt of this work is helping people kind of navigate that time. And Sean, that is what I feel like that is why a lot of people don't successfully build a business here, is because that is the work that they're like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I told you what to do in the house, you go figure the rest out, just go to work, and you'll have some success in this industry. But if you can't help people personally grow, you're probably always going to have a cap on your business.
Yeah, dude. One of the biggest realizations that I came to was that in order to do this well, you have to help a lot of people, whether it's helping families with insurance or helping agents feed their families. It cannot be about you. And that's the strength you have as a mentor, is you're very, very selfless. And I'm not the only person that's ever said that. You're very, very selfless. And it's very obvious you genuinely love to see other people win. And I've kind of tried to adopt some of that mentality for myself. And some of the highlights that I've had as an agency owner is seeing some of my best friends come in and win. I think of Richie Crahall, who's just running, bought a beautiful house. He's bought a new car. Like, he, obviously he does this in a sense with a full-time schedule, but this is not his only gig, but he does it very well and he's fully vested in it. But seeing those moments, seeing new agents come in cold market that we've never met, never knew them before, and they come in and now they're helping 2, 3, 4, 5 families a week, and they're making the best income they've ever made, and they're just getting started. That is the stuff that fuels me, that gets me out of bed. And then obviously, I would say the last part of that is just seeing what it's done for my family. Being able to pay our bills and put food on the table. And I remember just 2 years ago, my wife is like, we just had our son, and she's at the grocery store trying to decide which card to max out to buy groceries on. Like, dude, that was 2 years ago. And we told ourselves when we finally decided to go all in on this, we got to give it 2 years. We'll give it 2 years. We may not be where we want to be. We'll go all in for 2 years and see what happens. And dude, we're 2 years in, and it's been wild. But what's more amazing than that is just seeing all these other people come in and just killing it, man, and hearing their stories and things like that. So you already touched on this a little bit, but what's your why? What fuels you? Because you're still working hard. You're not necessarily in the field like you used to, because you're in a different stage of this business. But what is your why? What keeps you getting out of bed every morning?
I'm going to butcher the quote, but I don't even remember who said it, but this is the way that I think. They say that a person's personal drive is associated with the sense of responsibility they feel in life. Like, so if you, whatever, like, level of responsibility you feel like for other people or for some like purpose, how much you feel you're responsible for that thing, that will reflect in how you work and the things that you pursue in life. And I don't know where I got this bug. I'm really not sure exactly where I got it, other than, I guess maybe just Jesus Christ, just like, his, example and the way he's worked in my life, dude. But I know a lot of missionaries. I worked for a missions agency. That's where I did my master's. I spent part of that time in West Africa. The other part of my time was with the agency that helped 200 plus families that are all around the world, that start churches and schools and orphanages. And I want, that group of people is incredibly selfless. When I lived there in West Africa, I knew I was going to go to Ghana for several years. So a lot of things did not, surprise me. Like, levels of poverty didn't surprise me, things that I saw, just, things with the government, that didn't surprise me. But what did take me aback was how selfless and how great the missionaries were. Like, I was, because, I'd known pastors and assistant pastors, and for the most part, there's not a lot of great people. I'm not downplaying those roles at all, but for the most part, normal people, that were good, that was their profession. But there's something different about that group of people that decided, hey, I'm going to leave. I met a couple that literally, they met in college. They decided to be missionaries, and their honeymoon was in a village in West Africa.
Wow.
And they've been there for like the last 15 years. They raised their family there. And I want to be able to give to those people and their works on a high level. I would love to give $100 million to those works, and just travel and empower those people, give to, orphanages. What we got to do in West Africa was amazing. We're looking at 2 more, this year that I'll be checking out in a little bit. So I think that's my why. And then on the back of that, and one reason I love Family First Life and this so much is I get to pursue that goal, and in my wake, of like driving to pursue that goal, protect millions of families, for like preparing for the toughest days of their life, and helping agents get the greatest financial success, help their lives. Like this industry is so virtuous and that it's guilt free that I literally get to help, some of my best friends in the world, like help you, and your family, provide for them in a great way. But doing that, helping other agents, helping clients, protect their family. Like there's literally no downside to it. And so I have an incredible drive on that end, too. We were just talking about a new agent, Jackson, there, and I got, spent some time with him and his wife, field training them. Like, man, these are just great people. They're just great kids. I just want to help them, provide for their family. And so that whole thing, like I literally can package the whole thing together, and I care about all of it so much. And so it makes this really easy. This might sound bad. Someone asked me the other day, like, "Oh, what do you got going on?" And I talked about some work things. I'm like, "Oh, besides work, what do you got going on?" I was like, right now, nothing. And I'm not, and I'm past the point where I even try to act like that bothers me. It doesn't. Like this really absorbs what I got going on, and I'm good with it.
Dude, that there's so much there. And I think you can kind of sum it up with this, like you feel really good about what you wake up and do every single day. And dude, we've done other sales jobs. We've sold trash, door to door together, newspapers, cable that was way overpriced, and lawn care that, people have their opinions about it. We did it well, but dude, I don't know if I ever felt good about what I was accomplishing at those jobs, at those sales jobs. My last career, my last industry I worked in, I did enjoy it. But here's the thing is what I found fulfillment in that it was, when someone did have an issue with certain things, like I was able to help them. And that's what I found fulfillment in. I wasn't selling people things they didn't need. They were people that were calling in requesting our help. And so this allowed me to leverage what I was already enjoying about my last career and scale that. Like literally we're helping people. And so, dude, let me ask you this last thing. We obviously, we know a lot of the same people. There's a lot of people on social media that are watching us. A lot of them. And some of them have reached out, some of them haven't. But I know there's a lot in between that want to reach out, but they don't know if it's for them. If I was a person and I thought maybe this industry, this career, this company could change my family's life, what would I need to hear and what would I get by jumping on board?
Yeah. Well, as far as what you would need to hear, if you've ever kind of dipped your toe into the sales industry, you enjoy kind of helping people with their problems. It's one of those things that insurance industry has such a how do you phrase it? Like the barrier to entry is like so minimal. Like you get, I have friends who, really wanted to try out the real estate industry and, had very little success. And it felt like that the waste felt exacerbated because it took them several months and several $1,000s to just get their license. They had to go through a class and they had to pay a good chunk of money and all these extra fees, even to be licensed for a minimal time in their state. And a lot of times they'd eventually drop the because it was expensive to even keep. You'll probably spend $100 getting your insurance license, and you can get it within a few days. So it's one of those things. I really encourage people, get your license and just go out and help one or two families and just see what you think of it, before you even need to make a commitment. A lot of us did that. You did that. A lot of our managers, it's like we just say, hey, go get your license, go out on a weekend, help one or two people, with insurance. and, see what you think of it,
Yeah.
before, because it's so easy to go and do and just try. Like, you don't need to be like, okay, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice before I go get my insurance license. You really don't need to do any of that. If you are in the sales profession full time, like, I can't, like you said there, I've sold a lot of things. I don't think there's a better sales industry than the insurance industry. I really don't. Just with the commissions, the renewals, helping someone with something that actually impacts their life, that you can really feel good about, what you're doing, for them. Family First Life has a tremendous support system, and not to say this in a bragging way, but I think I can honestly say that our agency, goes above and beyond even the normal FFL culture, which is phenomenal across the board. But we give an incredible amount of support, from literally telling you every word you need to say to somebody, any response you're going to get, what leads to get, we have, you're going to go through a boot camp. You're going to go through multiple weekly trainings. You're going to constantly get hit with more, material. You're going to get a mentor. We have a lead liaison that'll help you, figure out what leads to get, in your area. So you're going to get a tremendous amount of support, coming on with us. And yeah, the right people, obviously, I wouldn't say that the insurance industry is for everybody. If you are in a place where you really, really just love what you do, and it absorbs 100% of your time, and you don't have any time to give to something else, this isn't something that you can do probably an hour a week. But if you are looking for something that you could get to a place where you're making a really good income part-time, or looking for a career switch, that can give you financial freedom, like, you can definitely find that here.
Dude, I love everything you said there. And you're so right when you say this industry it's not for everyone. Could anyone do this? I think so. But obviously, like what you said, you have to be able to commit the time. And that is, if you can't do that, this is not something that you should do right now. But dude, I love how even just within our team, dude, we have people that are in ministry, we have pastors' wives, people that have done sales, that haven't done sales, people from real estate, former law enforcement. We have everybody from every walk of life that are coming in here and just working really, really hard, keeping a positive attitude, plugging into the training and the system, and are just crushing it. So it's not biased towards the person. It is biased towards your work ethic, though. That's for sure.
And the funny thing that you said there is, talking about all those professions and where people came from, the only commonality across the board is you just have people who, whatever they were doing, they enjoyed helping people.
100%.
A police officer who liked protecting people, a pastor's wife whose job was about helping people experience spiritual growth and overcome, dark things in their lives, people who enjoyed helping people with sales was already in the sales profession, people who enjoyed helping people find their home, all those things. Because at the end of the day, the job it's also the easiest. And one last thing I'll say here, it's the easiest sales process I feel like I've ever been a part of, even from when, I was selling like lawn care and, whatever, like it's, you're just going out, people who ask for help with life insurance, and you're going out and you're helping them with it. It's not rocket science. You don't need to have been in sales for 10 years like we were to come here and be successful. You can be like, Joe Basso Sr. or Karen Bain, who were in their later years, when a lot of people are getting ready for retirement, they're like, hey, let me do a switch. I've never done sales. in their entire lives, and they're crushing it in the insurance industry, which is crazy. Like, I can't imagine Joe Baxter Sr. having gone to Comcast. We're selling cable service and crushing it. That wouldn't have been a fit. But when he sits down with the family and talks about protecting their most important assets and protecting their financial future, it's a fit. And people, it's genuine. People feel that from him, and that's why he's so great.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I love hearing the stories of all these people that have come in and just crushed it. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. Let me ask you this, man. If someone wanted to work with you and your team, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so real easy. You just you can text me. My number's 219-775-4097. This is probably also linked to my social media. When this comes out, I'll probably be tagged, so you can shoot me a DM, and I'll respond, and we can talk.
Awesome. Well, guys, you heard it from one of the best. Appreciate you hopping on. Take care.
Take care, brother.
Thanks, dude. Love you, man.